Welcome to Authors Revealed. I'm Becky Anderson. We're so excited. We have local author Jesse Jordan here with his new YA novel. It's called This Is Not the End. A great story about a high school student who nothing's going right for him until his librarian at the school tells him that he's the Antichrist and the apocalypse is coming. Well, Jesse, welcome back to Naperville and Anderson's.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you back. And I just was wondering, the book has been out maybe a month now?
A little
over a month, right?
Yeah, I think 1 month now. Yeah.
So tell us, what are you hearing from readers at this point? After you've had some events, around the city and out here in the suburbs and stuff.
I'm hearing good things. It's weird, I kind of, when you're writing something, I feel like, at least me, I'm kind of fearless. Oh, some people love this, some people hate it. I don't care. That's great. That means it'll be, one of these things. And then it comes out and someone's like, I didn't like it that much. And you're just crushed and you're absolutely can't handle that at all. So, but it's been largely really good. It's been a lot of people responding with a kind of like surprise, with a kind of like, this is a weird book and I really like it.
Yeah, but weird, but like it a lot.
And that's, what I was hoping for. People would say, this is different, but I dig it.
Yeah, and Kirkus gave you a great review on this book too.
They did.
And Kirkus doesn't review everybody's books.
I
thought that was great.
I'm a novice, I guess, in that respect. That my agent emailed me like losing his mind. He was like, "It's a starred review. It's starred review," and I was like, "Great. Hang on 1 second." Research, like, what does that mean? Why is that a big deal?
Well, that's the mother lode of all reviews is the Kirkus. So if you get that, that's really great. So I want to know, with this weird book, because it has, and we don't want to do too many spoilers because there are some twists and some things we don't want to give away in this one. So where did the seeds for this start to grow? Because it is weird. It has many genres within it, but also it goes in many different directions.
Yeah, I find a lot when I'm starting things that, and I don't know how it happens, but I'm really happy about it. I'll be thinking about this idea and thinking about that idea, and in my mind they're always like different things I might write, and they tend to marry a lot. They tend to become one thing. And I was thinking about one larger kind of coming of age sort of story, and totally unrelated to that. I watched a movie one night and I hated it. And I can't remember what it is, but I remember the night really specifically. It was a take on the whole Joseph Campbell, Neo, Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker. Someone comes along and tells you, you're not nobody, you're special, you're the one.
Right. You have the power, the source, whatever you want to call it.
And we all love that, and we all want to feel that, and when it's done well, it's great. But this one was really bad, I remember, and I was just thinking how lazy it was, and I had this thought of, what if somebody came to you and said you're the bad guy? And all of a sudden, that and the kind of coming of age idea, it just, for some reason, that meshed really well with what being a teenager felt like to me, I think, too, with being told, like, well, you're going to have to do this, and you have to do this, and that was, I remember the moment of this one really clearly.
Right.
So.
And did you think of what type of bad guy at that point, or was it just that initial seed that you?
It was really all in one night. It was that, and it was what if someone came to you and said you're the Antichrist? Because I remember that was a terrible first title, but the first title was something like the accidental Antichrist of blankety blank, high school or something, and because I had a different name back then, but it was a long that nugget was the first night, the whole kind of idea.
And I think that's what I liked about it so much, was that, everything you go through in high school, which is a horrible time for many of us, right? And all those things you go through, and you do feel like you are not yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you want. You don't know what you're going to do in the future. You have no idea what your path is. You're lonely. You're awkward. it could go on and on and on. And it is. And this book is so interesting because now, James, Salley, who is your protagonist here in this story, all of a sudden he has power like nobody else.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think too, that idea that like everything is bad and uncomfortable and scary is also the weird kind of thing that even the great things at that age are kind of awful and scary because you've never experienced them before. You don't understand them, and everything is kind of seen through that prism. So for me that matched up. It worked well. So.
Yeah, but a lot of genres we're putting into the mixer, with the coming of age story. We have science fiction in here. You put a little supernatural stuff in there. You put all the teen angst and all these things, and you got a weird but page turner.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of weird.
Right,
There's other storytelling methods in there, with the footnotes and stuff like that. And so it's a little sociological, I think. And yeah, I really wanted to make something that felt like you never knew what was going to be on the next page, kind of, I guess, when you turned it. So.
Yeah. And I like the title because no spoilers, but we'll have questions at the end that'll go with that. But okay, tell us where James comes from. What's his DNA?
I think writers always have stock answers for this, and they have whatever. Every character is a composite. Every character is part of the author. Sure. I mean, James is a lot of, you're kind of the avatar of your emotional self as a teenager. For me, he's not me, but he's a lot of what the experience of me would, kind of felt like, and then mixed with these other little pieces of this and pieces of that, but yeah, I mean, I'd be lying just for the sake of ego or lying to say anything else, I guess. Yeah. So.
But I think he's like so many 16-year-olds. When you think he's almost 16 in the book, but when you think about so many kids, their parents are too busy to pay any attention. The friends are hard. There's a girl that he really likes, but she doesn't pay any attention. All those types of things. But he's ignored by. He's one of those kids that's sort of in the middle. Not the ones that get all the attention, not the ones who demand attention by behaving badly. But he's kind of in the middle, so he's not getting anything.
Yeah.
In a way. But the only kind of attention he's getting is from the bully at school.
Yeah.
Which yeah. But I just thought he was so good.
And, I mean, that's one of the things they tell you the second you start writing, is not to be afraid of specificity. That the more specific you make it, the more universal it feels. And I think that's the thing I really believe. I try and just feel like if this feels kind of real to me, if this feels like something that could have happened or that I would believe, chances are other people are going to feel the same way.
Yeah. Did you channel your former teenage self? Because you really do get inside his head and what he's feeling and some of your other characters too.
Yes. I think definitely I did. But I also think that, that feeling you have as a teenager of everything being new and scary and great is also something that just keeps coming back again and again in life. And if you kind of look for it, you starting a new job is not that different from teenage you, probably. I think, as far as just how insecure you feel and how kind of freaked out and trying to put forth a facade that you know what you're doing and stuff like that. I mean, so yeah, I think I tap into my teenage self pretty often, actually. So
I think we all do, no matter how old you get, right?
Yeah.
Right. So Dorian Delaney. So this is the girl he has the crush on.
Yeah.
And she is somewhat suicidal, right? Yeah. Yeah. And she has a lot of operatic training, so she has quite a voice and all that. So where did she come from?
I mean, that is, that is a character. Well, I was saying about mixing the composite thing. She was a large main character in this thing I've been thinking about, and like many characters, I think she's a little bit me, a little bit, a girl or two I was in love with, a little bit a friend I had in, later in life.
Yeah.
I think for me, characters tend to be things where I take a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person, a little bit of my impression of this person, even though I know it's wrong, that impression was strong, and I mix them together and I keep massaging them until they kind of, they start talking on their own, and then I'm like, okay, now it's Dorian,
Right. So high school, and so James is going along his way with whatever's happening.
Right.
I did love your footnotes in all
good.
of it. Because some of them were just like great small factual information, but then a lot of it was like backstory for what was happening. So what gave you the idea for the footnotes? Because I know young adult readers are going to love those footnotes.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting too, is that that was one of the things when we were, selling the book that my publisher was great about it. But some people, especially other people we talked to, were like, I'm not sure about footnotes for a YA book and stuff like that. And that's one of the things, the feedback's been really, really good. People have been like, I love these digressions, and I love kind of jumping back in time with those, and so that's been nice. For me, a lot of the book is about James kind of moving towards clarity, and so to me, I like the footnotes because they're kind of a physical manifestation of the digressions of his inability to focus, of this kind of you're experiencing while reading the book, to my mind, what he's experiencing trying to get a handle on his life.
Right. So like the chicken runs by, and that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, and it's, I think kids in high school, because that's when you really have to learn how to use footnotes and use them. So it's kind of a two-pronged thing there too. So in the story, there's an interesting librarian at this high school, right? And his name is Ezra Moon. So tell us a little bit about him and how he goes about that scene where he tells James who he really is and what his destiny is, that he needs to start the war to end all wars. Right?
Ezra's one of those few characters who came just kind of out of fun, Like so I started to put the book together, and I started to think more about that Joseph Campbell story thing, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, we all know these patterns in our head. There's Morpheus, there's Dumbledore, there's whoever, and
Yoda, whoever.
There's always so. I was like, okay, well, we got to have one of those, and I just started. He really came organically. He was just fun to write. He was just fun to kind of be in, because he's really singular of purpose, and he's enjoying himself here on Earth, and he's not very concerned with most things except for James. So it's he was just fun.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was a really interesting scene when he tells him that.
When he's explaining. That was tough to write, because I'm trying to walk this line of fantasy but believability, and what you would feel like as a high school, like how much good information do you need from someone telling you you're the Antichrist for you to not call 911 is essentially, I guess.
Right.
For you to not be like, you're insane, I'm leaving. So.
Yeah, and him pushing him to start the apocalypse.
Right.
So it's just so interesting. So James's world, by this whole thing, it's turned, totally upside down. People, what happens is, and we don't want to give too much away of the story, but there are some weird groups of people, cabals, that are out to kill him, they're because of what he's going to do and what they think he is. But also there are these mythical creatures that are coming to help him, coming to his aid. So tell us a little bit about that, because I thought that was a great element of the story.
Well, I think, with this idea of this being a battle or whatever that's been planned for forever, there are people invested on both sides, so it only made sense that you would have both those, and so I guess it made sense that the people on his side would be aides of Ezra, would be from the place Ezra's from, and so the idea, I don't know, I was doing a lot of research. There was a ton of religious, philosophical, historical research in this, and I remember one day I was reading and I saw the word homunculus, and I just went, yes, a homunculus. That's who he should be. And so that was another of those very lightning bolt moments where,
No, that was great. But then, and then I don't want to give away too many spoilers with this too, when we're coming down to the war and we're talking about, this is where more of the science fiction-y part comes in. With Metatron and Morningstar and all that part of the story. So you're flipping from biblical lore to other legend to everything. But now you're adding in this science fiction type of element, which I thought was that was another thing to just go, wow, I love this.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about those characters, and I don't want to give away anything that happens at the end.
I guess I really wanted, we talked about mixing the things, and I just got very unafraid when writing to pull things from history, from myth, from religion, from old films, from old books, and just put them all together in this idea of storytelling, that they're all kind of, wrapped up in this one, kind of this place where we get these stories, where we're getting these weird, interrupted signals from and stuff. And so, those characters are pretty biblical, though, and so, they were mostly like that was a specific story they were riffing on, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah, right. So, you know, this whole thing about it's kind of an identity story. And for James, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what does he really want to be? And, but it's also about, you know, when we're teenagers, what our parents expect us to be, what other adults in our lives expect us to be, and telling us the path that we should take and the steps we should do to get there.
Yeah.
And this is very different for James, because now he has the power to create a path.
Yeah.
But what will his decision be? Because in many ways, all he ever wanted to be was a regular kid, a regular guy.
Yeah.
Get the girl he wants, you know, be a comic. I mean,
Right.
he draws comics, and I love the comic in the book.
Thank
so
you.
Did you draw that?
Yeah. So
tell us about James, and at this point, he's on this path, but then this happens, and yeah.
I think, I mean, he learns he's the one who's going to bring this war, you know, to Earth, and it brings with it certain abilities, especially a kind of power over people around him. And I think, you know, a lot of that was about, I mean, I wanted James to, you know, as the story's going on, James to realize more and more that not doing things or doing things is about decisions and about fear, not about whether or not you can do it or can't do it.
Right.
It's about making the decision to do it. And then everything is kind of secondary after that. So, I mean, that, you know, and also I think as that person, as the Antichrist or whatever we call him in the book, it jumps around a lot, obviously, but the most important power would be the power to persuade other people and to get people on your side, you know, so.
Right. Yeah. So the comic that he draws in the book, because that's what he's always wanted to be,
Right.
is being a comic, a graphic artist, and have his own published, you know, whether a graphic novel or
Right.
comic and that sort of thing. And it's the incident. So, and it's an incident with Dory that he puts into this comic, which was so interesting. So tell me, how was your skill? Have you always wanted to draw comics?
I mean, when I was young, that's what I thought I was going to do for a living. I thought I'd probably become an artist, and just as time went on, you know, other things take your interest. More narrative stuff took my interest. But yeah, I always so in creating him and you know, just kind of, like I said, getting out of the way a little bit and letting whatever wanted to come out, that part of him really came out, and it felt really natural with her singing, her operatic training and the singing, and his art, this idea that kept kind of coming up even accidentally when I wasn't trying to do it, of creation, of art, of storytelling and creation, going through everything. And so I was like, I'm just gonna get out of the way and let it happen then. So.
And I thought that was great to have that inserted in. It's towards the beginning of the book, but set in Chicago, of course. You grew up in the Chicago area. You still live here, Chicago area. So putting a lot of those local references was great.
And thank you.
So what about Chicago as fodder for place for this story, do you think? I mean, from your experience and what you see as for your characters.
I mean, it's I remember reading a thing not long ago that said something like they like to look at political things in Illinois because Illinois is such a wonderful representation of the whole country. From the southern tip of Illinois, which is so rural and has coal mining and all that, up to the city with all the urban great things and the urban issues, and out to the suburbs, which have totally separate ones. So to me, I mean, it's nice because setting it in a suburb, and specifically a suburb that's changing, that is going through change that they don't understand at that time, really seemed like a perfect thing with the abandoned factory, with the new housing moving in. It seemed like a perfect. It seemed to mirror his kind of adolescent experience. No,
I really like that. So your first novel was for adults.
Yeah.
So did you set out with this is not the end, that this was going to be young adult, or did the story just take you to this age level or this type of genre?
I didn't know it was young adult. My wife told me. She's I told you she's a middle school teacher, and I was writing a book, and in my mind I always knew I was trying to write very specifically the book I couldn't find when I was 15. I wanted the book I wanted to read at 15. You know. A little adult, but about me, and I wanted it to, as a writer then, I wanted it to work like one of those books you could read at 15, and then if you loved it and you pick it up again at 25, you go, oh, there's all this stuff in here I didn't even realize. I didn't catch this. I didn't catch this level. And so I thought I was writing an adult novel that teenagers would read.
Right.
And I gave it to her to read, and she was like, well, this is a YA.
Yeah, YA.
This is a YA book.
Yeah. So your first book was called Gospel Hollow. So
Yeah.
how different was the experience writing for adults and now writing this for you? Or was it just the point of sitting down and writing the story that you wanted to tell?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that different because I will say, I think, I mean, the first one, it was my graduate thesis. It was the first time I finished something. So I was just like kind of walking lost, trying to figure out, well, what do you do here? How do you do this? This one was very different because, as I said, even though I wasn't aware of it completely, I had a very specific audience in mind. I had a very specific feel for every character. Everything felt very, the last one was a lot more, the first one I should say, felt like, having something and trying to pound a shape out of it, whereas this one felt more like just sculpting something, so.
Yeah. Well, then that kind of goes into, did you sit down and outline what was happening, or did you know where it was beginning and ending, and then you just wrote and surprised us as you were being surprised?
No,
yourself?
I have a pretty weird process. Talking to other people, I found I don't know how many people, I get there, I research, I start working, I start writing, I make little tiny outlines, only giving me kind of what the, middle point here and stuff like that. And I start writing, and usually I abandon it and then start again. That happened with this. It was first person for the first however long I wrote it, and then jump back. And then at some point, the story kind of hits me, and then I sit down and outline everything. So I usually get like a quarter of the way in and then outline the whole book.
Oh, interesting.
So,
okay, yeah. So you're a senior editor at Triumph Books
Yeah,
in Chicago.
Yeah. Here in Chicago.
And we have hosted many Triumph authors, and
Yeah.
so who have you worked with, and then also too, on the flip side, being an editor, how hard was it for you to let someone else edit your work?
Well, that one first. It really wasn't. That's not hard at all. I mean,
Okay.
I'm kind of always a fan of more people, more eyes, more thoughts. It doesn't bother me at all. I will say, being an editor, I'm more comfortable saying, no, which doesn't happen that often. But I think were I not an editor and someone, hand someone the notes and they're a professional editor, and then they send them back, and I think you kind of go, okay, well, I guess I have to do this. And I'm knowing how full of it I am all the time, I'm like, well, so not that one. Yeah, oh, great change. And the editor I worked with, Medallion, was really wonderful too. As far as working as an editor at Triumph, I mean, I've gotten to work with a lot of really great, celebrities and athletes and stuff like that, but really good like sports writers too, and people who are just working on passion projects and stuff like that. I did one a couple years ago with a guy named George Willis, who writes for the New York Times, who wrote a book called The Bite Fight, which was just about all the people involved in the fight where Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off. And it followed everyone separately as they went into the fight, and then it covered the fight beautifully written. And then it followed everyone out of the fight, and how that fight changed so many lives and this and that. It was a great book, Yeah.
So what other sports personalities have you worked with their books at Triumph?
Recently, we did a book with Frank Thomas.
Yeah,
so I worked with him.
That was great.
I mean, Darren McCarty from the what's called Red Wings. We did a Jeremy Roenick book not long ago.
Right.
Of course, you had that. I worked with Paul Hornung last year, or the year before.
Wow.
Went down to Louisville to spend some time with him, because it was a book about his memorabilia. So actually went down and spent time at his house, at his office with his stuff. That was a fun trip,
Yeah.
It was really great bourbon in Kentucky, so it was a nice trip.
So being an editor,
Yeah.
how has your editing life affected you as a writer, and how do you think that going forward, do the two pair well together? I mean, it's sort of, do they inform each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the best thing I've learned overall from editing is I guess to kind of get to the point and trust people. Get to the point and trust people. They'll probably figure it out.
Yeah.
Skip the boring parts. They'll fill it in. They know how he got from A to B. He drove. It's fine. We don't need to be in the car.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So this at the end. This is not the end.
Yeah.
So at the end,
Yes.
there's a possibility it could go on.
Yeah, I've seen a
So
lot of
that's what I'm
reviews.
wondering.
I've seen a lot of reviews that say that.
Well, that's what I think. So I'm wondering, will there be? Because I didn't want to give anything away.
No, that's
you know what
fine.
I'm
But
saying? That this is not the end.
I absolutely. I wrote it as a standalone novel.
Okay.
It's not as a
Right.
series at all. But I absolutely finished it and remember thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe in 20 years, I'll write it. This book that picks up later, much farther on, but with the same kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of
I could see a sequel, but it's a great
Yeah.
standalone. But
Right.
I could see something.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
I mean, it leaves you not completely,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what are you working on now?
Okay. Well, right now, my agent's trying to sell a novel that is an adult novel, which is about a college in 1956, a small college, where one student is passing as white. And another student has learned his secret and is kind of exerting power over him. So, and then right now I'm writing another YA novel, which is more of a kind of horror thriller, almost.
Okay.
It's kind of a like this. It's a play on a couple different genres. I find a lot in things I write that I like genre, I like the rules of it, and I find freedom within it, and I like to get in there and then kind of mess with it a little bit and add other ones on top of it, and so.
So you're bending things. But yeah, I like that. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, Jesse, I end these interviews with a little quiz.
Okay.
So this is basically a writer on how he reads and the books that you've enjoyed. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
and so this is a lightning round. Whatever comes to you first.
Oh, wow.
So these are no, you know the answers. This is easy.
Calm
okay.
it down.
All right. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Get the zen here.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your favorite book as a kid?
Indian in the Cupboard.
Ah, I love that.
I'm a very little kid,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. So, that was the first one popped up. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay. Do you remember something in high school that has still stayed with you?
A book?
Yeah.
Oh, Autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh, okay. Okay, how about something when you're working on your MFA at Columbia?
Oh, Unbearable Lightness of Being.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay, how about a book you've been an evangelist for that you could not tell enough people that they had to read it?
There was a book called Raising Holy Hell by Bruce Olds. You know that book?
Yeah, I
And
haven't read it, but I have heard a little.
Well,
yeah.
it went out of print, it disappeared, and it's hard to find. But I always read it. I mean, I read it and it was beautiful, and I talked to people about it, and everyone's like, I don't know that book. So.
Okay, how about a classic you fake read because we've all done it?
Oh, Gravity's Rainbow. Yeah, got about halfway through, and was just like, I'm.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How about a fictional world if you could live in it? Which fictional world would it be?
You know, I was talking. I had this come up in something else, and I really, although it's kind of a cliche answer, I think it's cliche because it's so wonderful. I think like the Harry Potter Wizarding World.
Okay.
It feels like Christmas and Halloween mixed into one thing.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever read a book for its cover?
I don't. I'm sure I have. Oh yeah. Okay. What's it called? Dan Simmons. Oh God, Creature Comfort. No, Carrying Comfort.
Carrying Comfort.
Oh,
Yes. Oh,
great book. Amazing book.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
that most people. I
He
don't know.
writes such great
But
horror.
it was such a scary looking
Yeah.
cover, and that one.
Yeah, and that it was what was inside.
Yeah, it's
It
a
was
great
good.
book.
Yeah, right. What about some books you read with your kids that you love to curl up with? Some favorites. You have two sons, right?
I know. I have a son and a daughter.
A son and a daughter.
And
Okay.
there's one that my daughter loves right now called Oh No, which is about all these animals that keep falling in a hole. And she's both terrified by and loves the tiger. Like she wants you to make it scarier, but she doesn't want it to be scary. So I really like reading that with her a lot right
that's
now.
a great one. And they're
Yeah.
both Illinois author and illustrator.
Really?
Yeah. who
Oh, I
did
didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and what are you reading now or read recently that you really, really loved?
I love, since I said the next thing I'm working on is horror and thriller, I've been kind of going through some horror stuff I like. And I just found, I just read Stir of Echoes by Matheson. And I kind of like everything he writes. I really like his pared down, super realistic style about everything supernatural. So I'd say that, yeah.
Okay. All right. Good score. Yay, you made it through it. All right. Well, Jesse, thank you so much. Congratulations on
Thank
This
you.
Is Not the End. And we know this is not the end to your writing career, so you have to come back and see us.
Please,
when
yeah.
your next book is out in the world.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Great conversation with local author Jesse Jordan about his new young adult novel, This Is Not the End. This is a great book, a mix of wonderful genres, but a book that'll keep you reading from beginning to end. Thanks for joining me on Authors Revealed.